Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and hopefully a reasonably quick little video. Today we're having a quick look at this. What we've got here is a DK-Tronics Spectrum keyboard. If you'll have seen them, the DK-Tronics cases that you could rehouse your Spectrum in. Well, I sold one to a chap in New Zealand a few years ago. And he didn't actually he only wanted the case to replace a broken one he had. He wasn't really bothered about the keyboard. And to save weight, because shipping to New Zealand is very expensive from the UK, I took the keyboard out and just sent him the actual case, which left me a rather nice keyboard to use while I'm actually repairing Spectrums. Because, I mean, there's many times where you actually want to have a keyboard to be able to type commands in, poke things while you're working on a Spectrum board. And the Spectrum membrane keyboards, I don't like keep plugging, unplugging, because they are going to break. This is just a really nice solution, because you can just plug it into a board and have a proper keyboard to work on while you're working. Now, when I first got this keyboard, it didn't work. I think literally about 4 or 5 of the keys worked on it. This is about 5 years ago. And at the time I completely stripped the keyboard down, cleaned all the keycaps up, got them all working. And like I said, I've used it every time I've worked on a 48K Spectrum basically. Since then I've used this keyboard. Now I haven't actually worked on a 48K in quite a while. And as I am working on a 48K Spectrum at the moment, I thought I'd dig this out because it would help me work on that upper RAM issue that the computer's got. And I discovered that, well, a lot of the keys are no longer working again. And I think this is becoming more and more of a problem, not just with these DK-Tronics keyboards, but any of the keyboards that use these particular types of key switch like this. The one good thing is that these key switches are disassemblable. You can actually take these completely apart, which, like I said, which is what I've done in the past. I've took them apart, I've cleaned them all up, but you know, this is 5 years later, and well, that entire pile there are ones which are just not working at all. There's even some of the keys I've left on here which I won't call them brilliant. They work, but they have to, you need a fair old press on them, because it's just a keyboard that I use just for diagnostics on boards and stuff. I'm not that worried about that, and I can always pull them out at a later date. I really just need this keyboard working at the moment so I can carry on the Spectrum repair. So I just took the desolder station and I've whipped out all the faulty keys, and I thought we'd just have a quick video and have a look, see whether we can actually sort these keys out. And I've had an idea what I might be able to do with them, because I think I found what one of the problems with them is. What we'll do, I'll get you down. Oops, I'm not good at that, am I? Let's get you out a little bit. Right, let's have a quick slurp of coffee. And I'll grab my glasses. Right, basically, let's take one of these keycaps apart, and I'll show you inside, and I'll show you what the issue, or at least one of the issues with these are. If you just very gently lever up on this little flap there, you have to be careful because you don't want to break it off. And we do the same at the other side here. So just very gently go in. Just lever it up. There we go. Oops, and they can just spring apart like that. But basically, there's we've got the bottom section, which has got 2 little contacts in it, and then we have little carbon contact on the top here. And what happens is the 2 little contacts in there, there's actually 2 little brass contacts set into 2, I'm not sure what the other metal is used in there, but they are tarnishing quite badly. The other problem is that little carbon dot there seems to be becoming non-conductive. What I did when I previously did all these keys was actually to clean that. Basically I got a piece of paper, I've shown this in a video a long time ago. I got a piece of paper, just a white piece of paper, and I literally just rubbed the carbon along it like that to clean it. And like I said, that did get them working again, but they all seem to have well, a good chunk of the ones that I did, like I said, they're not working anymore. So what I plan to do, I'm going to give them a clean out. I must admit, last time I cleaned them out, I just cleaned them out using some IPA and a cotton bud. I didn't actually have a fiberglass cleaning pen. I'm just going to trim that off because the end of it's looking a little bit on the mank side. I'm having a nice clean bit of fiberglass to work. That's a great thing with these fiberglass pens. If the end looks really, really manky, all you have to do is just take a pair of snips and just cut the manky bit off. Like I said, last time I worked on these, I just cleaned them with a little bit of IPA. I'm actually going to give them a go with this little fiberglass pen on the inside, see if that's going to make a better job of it. It is cleaning it up in there. And you can make that out in there. Let me see if I can zoom you in so you can see the inside of that. Oops. There we go. Can you see inside that? In fact, let me see if I can get my light on it. The reason I got this light was so I could get it down. There you go. And you can see in there, they've actually shone up quite nicely. You can see the two little contacts inside there. In fact, what we'll do, let me just zoom you out a bit. We'll get up onto the meter. Let's get that back out of my way. There we go, that's better. What we'll do is we'll just put this switch back together and we'll just see what the resistance on it is now. All we've done is clean them bottom contacts. So the switch is literally just a case of it goes together exactly the way it came apart. So if you look, you put a little plunger with the spring on top in, and then this thing that looks like a Space Invaders ship goes in the top, and it will only go in one way round. And then the top piece goes on. You push it together, and it just snaps together like that. Let's give that key a quick check on the tester, because most of these were showing incredibly high resistance, or they just weren't displaying at all. They weren't showing anything at all. And literally what I did to try this was I connected it up. I've got just one of my test Spectrum boards out here. So I've got that connected to the keyboard, and I literally just got it up on the screen and went through all the keys until I found the ones that didn't work. Popped the keycaps off from them keys, and then got the desoldering station out and just whipped all those keys out. Which I must admit, first time round is an absolute pain, because they bend the keycap, the end of the legs over when they soldered them in place. I didn't bother doing that when I took them all out the first time, so at least when I took them out this time it was fairly easy. Let's see what that's like now. Now, that will definitely that will 100% work, that key. And it's not going down to like 1 ohm or something, it's 100 and odd ohms, but it is going to work for us. Unfortunately, like I said, I have not found a source of replacements for these. I'm not even sure who makes these keys. I don't think they've got any branding on them at all. They just have an R on the top. but I found these in quite a few, you know, aftermarket keyboards. I believe at least one of the MSX computers I've got uses these exact same keys as well. Let's just take one of the... This is one that I haven't done anything with yet. And let's just connect that up and see what kind of resistance we get. Look, it's not even registering when I press it. Nothing at all. Get you down. So all we're going to do, just like we did on that other one. In fact, that might be better. I think this is what I use. Yeah, just go under, lift the key up on that side, turn it over, do the same on that side, lift it up, the key will pop open like that, lift the top piece off, lift the little plunger out, and it's in there that needs cleaning. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to try cleaning the inside of there with the fiberglass. Put it together and we'll see what the resistance is like, because I don't know whether I need to clean them carbon contacts or not. Because if you clean them too often, there's only a very fine layer of carbon on them. You're going to actually wear through it. But I've got an idea I want to try on a couple of these key switches. So all we've done is clean the inside of that now. Put the keycap back together, so we put the plunger back in. This can be a little bit fiddly because you do have to get it to sit down flat, and some of them you just need to help persuade them in like that with a screwdriver. Make sure that rubber dome sits down flat. Then put the top on. Click that together like that. Just the key back together. Ooh, let me get you up onto the meter, and we'll connect that up and we'll see what difference that's made. Let's see if this one is now actually going to read, because as you saw before it wasn't actually reading at all. And we've still got 0 reading on that, even though we cleaned them under contacts. What my plan is, I think it's that carbon's getting, because they've already been cleaned once, I think that carbon's getting to the point where I can't really clean it again. I'll get you down. So I don't think I can really clean. If I clean it again, I think exactly the same thing's going to happen. That it'll work for a little bit and then it's just going to fail again. Now where's that piece of paper I used before? Give it a quick wipe. I mean, look, when I wipe it, there's not a great deal of... Oh, there we go. So what I thought I'd do... Where are they? I've got some of this stuff. I've got 2 types actually. And this is it's like a silver. This one actually does contain silver, and the conductive paints. Now I don't actually know if this one's still any good. I think that one might have actually dried up. I've had these a very, very long time. This one, however, I think is still okay. Yeah, so this one's still good. So what I thought I'd do is just paint a tiny bit of conductive paint like that, the carbon brush. Now I'm going to let that dry think this stuff takes about 25 minutes to actually dry off. So I am going to let this dry for about 25-30 minutes. Then we'll come back, we'll reassemble this key, and we'll see if that's actually made a difference and got this key working again. So I'll be back in a sec. Okay, well that's been about 25-30 minutes. Just been and had my tea. So hopefully that should be dry now. Let's have a. It's definitely touch dry now. So let's put the switch back together, and we'll see whether that's made any improvement to it. We've just got to push the plunger back in and make sure it sits down there nice and square. There we go. Sit that in. Put the top of the keycap on. Just push that home. There we go. That's the key back together. Let's get you up on the meter so you can see what's happening. Hopefully you can actually see the display on there. Can't really tell. Let's see what this is like. Look at that. It's 13 ohms. Right. Well, that's one down. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 to go. So what I'll do, I'll get all these apart. I'll get them all done with a little bit of that, and then we'll get them all reassembled, and we'll see about putting them back in the keyboard. So back very shortly. Okay, as we can see, we now have a complete set of plungers for all the faulty keys here. We've got all the bases there, and then we've got all the key tops. Well, the top of the key switch there. It's literally, oh, I've got one mixed up there. That should be in there, that should be in that pile there. So literally it's just a case of now of taking the conductive paint. Some of these, the springs do come off, but that's not a problem. You just have to be a bit careful as you actually reassemble them. But I'm literally going to spend some time now, tiny little bit of conductive paint. And I'm going to paint up the centre, the tiny little centre bit on each one of these, just like that. And I'm going to leave them. I'm going to get all these done, and then I'll literally leave them for a good half hour, like I did that first one, to dry, and then I can put all these keys together. Once this is done, we can put all the keys back together and actually test them and see whether we've had any success. So I'm not going to subject you to watching me paint 13 of these. So I'll come back when I've got all the keys back together. You've seen me put these together, and we can do a quick testing on them before we actually put them back into the keyboard. Okay, as we can see, I've got all the key switches back together. Basically just done exactly as I showed before. And let's give these a test. We'll give these a quick test on the meter. So I've literally just put them back together. I haven't tested any of these yet, so let's give them a quick try. First one. Another one. In fact, we can go through, we'll test all 13, then I'll get them back in the board and we can give it a go. Another one. So I did exactly like I did on that one before I applied all the paint. Left them a good half an hour, 40 minutes for that silver. Well, I don't know if that contains silver or not. I know the smaller pot that I've got, this one, that definitely does contain silver, but like I said, unfortunately there was only a tiny little bit left in it, and that's dried up. But this one, I think I've even had this probably about as long, if not longer. I bought this, I'm trying to think how long ago it is I bought that. I had a Mini at the time, so it would have been in the very early 2000s. I think I bought that, and it's still liquid, it's still good. That one's fine. But yeah, that's what that was originally for, was for repairing the heated rear windscreens on cars. That's what I got it for, because like I said, at the time I had a Mini, and I think when I got it, only like one or two of the little heated strips on the rear window actually worked, and I painted some of that on and fixed it with that. I've used it a few other times for various things where I've had to do a repair. In fact, I was watching Gadget UK fix Amstrad CPC keyboard membrane using conductive paint, and it did make me think I may have a go on the membrane on that Sam Coupe I've got, because that's got a duff membrane in it. And at the moment I don't really want to spend nearly 30 quid on a replacement one, so I may have a bash with the conductive paint, see if I can fix that, and then we could have a play with that Sam Coupe. That one's not as good. Oh, perhaps I weren't just pressing it right. It's fine now. Oh, perhaps I just didn't have a good enough connection on the bottom. Try this one. I wouldn't say that one's as good as the rest, but it's still a damn sight better than the ones that are on there. That one's good. Last one. Excellent. Right. So I suppose what I better do now, I'll get them soldered back into the keyboard here, and we'll actually give them a real world, we'll give them a quick test and actually make sure that they're going to work properly before I put the keycaps on. So back in a sec. Okay, we've got the last keycap here to go in, and basically the first thing we need to do is just make sure all the pins on it are actually straight before we try and put it through the board. Just using a pair of pliers here just to make sure that all the pins are straight. So I have had one, I was pushing it into the board and one of the pins actually bent under like that, so I had to pull it all back out and straighten the pin again. And there's only a finite number of times you can actually bend these pins before they are going to break off. So I'm hoping that I won't have to take these keys out again, because they have all, well, I think 90 odd percent of them have been out once already. And I've got a bit of solder in the holes there, and we'll just give them a quick clean out with the desoldering tool. I'll get you across like that so you can see what I'm doing. There we go, that should be better. Let's bring that back over. Let's try getting that switch back in there again. There we go, that's the switch, push down, and now it's just a case of flipping it over. Fortunately, these actually hold in the holes fairly snugly. I don't know why they bothered bending them over when they did them originally, actually, because they don't seem to need it. They do seem to hold in their the holes very, very nicely. We'll get these soldered into position, and then we can actually test the board. So it's literally just got a case of going round and resoldering them all. I'm not bending the pins back over, because if I do need to take any of these key switches out again, they've already been bent over multiple. I had to straighten them all when I took them off the first time, and like I said, they've now had to be pulled back off the board a second time because a lot have failed. So I'm hoping with that silver paint job now, we should get some life out of them. I mean, this keyboard doesn't exactly get heavy use. It's not as though people are playing, games on it day in, day out, like these would have, been originally. It literally just gets used whenever I get a 48K speccey in, and I've got the board on the bench. It's just a handy tool to have to diagnose problems with the board. Nearly there now. I've missed any? Can you spot any of that I've missed? I think that's all of them. Yeah, I think that's all of them done there. Right, so basically it's just a case of testing now. So what I'll do, that's okay there, make sure we've got nothing conductive on the desk. I will get it set back up, get you on the screen, and we'll do some testing. So back in a sec. Okay, I've got you on. I've got it connected up to one of my test speccey boards here. Let's just quickly hit enter. I'll say, unfortunately, I can't really film the keyboard and the screen at the same time. I just don't quite have the depth in this room to get the camera any further back. Hopefully when I get the new space set up, I'll be able to have a couple of cameras going at the same time and do things like this a little bit better. But what we'll do, we'll press print, and then we can go through all the keys. So let's start going through the keys that we've just repaired. And what we can do is, once we've tested it and we've ascertained the keys are right, I think that's just my SCART connector. I think that is just the SCART connector on my monitor's a little bit iffy, so don't worry about that flickering there. Well, we're not worried about the flickering. Right, so that's 5, 6, 7, they're working. So let's find where's 7. So let's put the 7's key back on. 7, 6. Oh, just there we go. That's better. We've got the screen back. 5's there. So we've tested those. Oops. That one's not coming. That's a little bit stuck, that one. There we go. We'll sort that out after. Right, where's that one? That's Y. Let's put Y back on. See, one of them keys, I think I might have not quite soldered one of them keycaps down properly, actually, because that's sitting a little bit proud. Let's just pull that off and I'll sort that out. Yeah, that key's not quite sat down. It must have jumped up while I was soldering it. We'll sort that out in a second. Let's carry on going through these though. So we've got H is working now. H back on. There we go. J. It's always the last one you pick up. J. K. Put that K back on there. And L. That's our L. Then we've got a B. And this must be our N. And that, as you can see, is working again. So all those keys so far that we've repaired and worked. Let's go and have a quick look over on the keypad. These aren't as critical. Our dot. Oh no, that's not a dot, that's a 1. That's the dot. Put the dot back on. That's working. We'll put the 1. Let's try 1. 1's working again. That's 7's working. Put the 7 key back on. Put the, let's check 9. 9's working again. And we've got a 4 here. Yeah, and 4 is working. We can put 4 back on. Let's just see if we can quickly address here. Like I said, I must have better just switch the specky off. While I was soldering this, yeah, I can see it's just slightly raised up on that side. It must have dropped slightly as I was soldering it. Let's just give these 2 solder points a quick. There we go. That's all it needed. Let's see if we can put that 5 key on. There we go. It doesn't interfere with the other keys anymore. Let's switch the specky back on. Let's do a quick, just to show you that it is working properly. So let's do a 10 print. Hang on. Enter. I'm sure this is the first program everyone learns to type. There we go. So we can show keyboard's definitely working. So yeah, that was a success. So now I've got the keyboard working again, I can get back on to diagnosing the fault with the Spectrum that I'm working on. So I hope you enjoyed that little video on sorting these DK-Tronics key switches out. Like I said, you do find them on other makes of Spectrum aftermarket keyboard. You also find them on some micros. Like I said, I've definitely got an MSX that uses like almost exactly the same key as this. So like I say, I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching and goodbye.